Little Ethan shares his world with his loyal companion, a gentle shepherd mix named Rocky. From the very first day Rocky stepped into their home, something unexplainable sparked between them. Ethan was only 4 years old back then, a curious boy with wide eyes and endless questions. Rocky was a clumsy puppy with oversized paws and a heart already full of devotion. The day they met is a memory that will never fade. Ethan's parents had taken him to the shelter, just to take a look. Dozens of dogs barked and wagged their tails, but Rocky was different. He didn't jump or bark. Instead, he walked up to the glass, sat down quietly and looked straight at Ethan. The boy froze, captivated. When Ethan pressed his little hand against the bars, Rocky leaned in and pressed his nose against it. It was as if, in that single moment, they chose each other. At first, Rocky would sleep right by Ethan's bedroom door, like a soldier on night duty. Every small noise made his ears twitch, every creak in the house was carefully examined. But one night Ethan woke up crying from a nightmare. His voice trembled as he called, "Rocky?" Within seconds Rocky rushed in. Without hesitation he leapt onto the bed, curled up beside Ethan, and placed his head gently on the boy's chest. Ethan wrapped his small arms around Rocky and drifted back to sleep, comforted by the steady rise and fall of Rocky's breathing. From that night forward they were inseparable. As Ethan grew older, Rocky grew with him. If Ethan sat down to draw, Rocky lay beside him watching each stroke of the crayon. If Ethan built castles out of blocks, Rocky would guard them, his nose twitching with curiosity but never knocking them down. When Ethan invited him to imaginary tea parties, Rocky sat proudly with a silly hat on his head, the most patient guest a boy could ever ask for. The family laughed endlessly and filled albums with photos of the two of them side by side. But Rocky's devotion was more than play. When Ethan got sick with a fever one winter, Rocky sensed it immediately. He refused to leave Ethan's bed, lying there for hours, his head resting on the blanket, his eyes fixed on the boy's pale face. He barely moved, as if his stillness itself could heal Ethan. And when Ethan finally opened his eyes, Rocky's tail thumped against the bed in relief. There were countless tender moments. On rainy afternoons, Ethan read picture books aloud, pretending Rocky understood every word. Rocky tilted his head as if listening closely, his brown eyes filled with love. At night, if Ethan tossed or turned, Rocky would adjust too, sometimes ending up draped across Ethan's legs like a warm, living blanket. Other times he curled up so close that Ethan's fingers would rest in his fur until morning. Time went by and Ethan began school. On his very first day, Rocky sat by the door waiting for hours. He didn't nap, didn't play, just waited. And when Ethan finally came running back through the door, Rocky's whole world lit up. His tail wagged so hard it nearly knocked over a chair. Ethan dropped his backpack, hugged him tight and whispered, "I missed you too, boy." The years brought birthdays, holidays, quiet evenings in front of cartoons, and even moments of sadness that Rocky softened just by being there. Through it all, their bond grew deeper, like roots intertwining beneath the soil. Rocky wasn't just a dog. He was Ethan's shadow, protector, and best friend. And still, every night when someone in the house says, "Time for bed," Rocky knows exactly where to go. He heads straight for Ethan's room, leaps gently onto the bed and curls up beside him. Together they fall asleep, safe, loved, and at peace. Rocky may never speak in words, but his loyalty speaks louder than any language. Their story proves that sometimes, the truest kind of love has 4 paws and a beating heart. From the moment the family learned they were expecting a baby, Buddy sensed that something special was coming. The golden Labrador, usually so playful, had started to follow Maya's mother everywhere. He rested his head on her belly as if he could already hear the tiny heartbeat inside. Whenever the father gently placed his hand on her stomach, Buddy would sit quietly, his brown eyes filled with curiosity and excitement. It was as though he already knew a new best friend was on the way. The day finally arrived. While the parents were at the hospital, Buddy waited anxiously by the door. He paced around the house, ears pricked at every sound, tail wagging at every passing car. Hours later, the front door opened, and the father stepped inside holding a small bundle wrapped in a pink blanket. Buddy froze, eyes wide. The father crouched down and whispered, "Buddy, this is Maya. She's your little sister now." Buddy leaned in slowly, sniffed the baby, and then, as if making a promise, gently licked her tiny hand. From that moment, his life had a new purpose: protecting and loving this fragile human. Do you think the dog will protect Maya? Subscribe to our channel for more stories like this. And don't forget to like the video. At first, Buddy kept his distance, always watching. He lay near the crib, ears twitching at every sound, ready to alert the parents if Maya stirred. When she cried at night, Buddy would whine softly as though reminding everyone, "She needs you." But soon, Buddy began to understand Maya's rhythms. He knew the difference between a hungry cry and a sleepy one, and sometimes just the sound of his steady breathing calmed her. As months passed, Maya grew, and so did their bond. When she crawled for the first time, Buddy followed closely, making sure she didn't bump into furniture. When she pulled herself up to stand, she clung to Buddy's fur for balance. The family often joked that Maya didn't learn to walk alone. She learned to walk with Buddy. Every day became an adventure inside the house. They built forts out of pillows, shared snacks beneath the kitchen table, and napped side by side. Maya wrapped in her tiny blanket, Buddy curled up like a warm guardian beside her. On rainy afternoons, Maya babbled stories to him, and Buddy listened with his head tilted as if he understood every word. One stormy night, thunder shook the windows. Maya woke up terrified, crying loudly. Before her parents could reach her room, Buddy was already there. He jumped onto the bed, pressed himself against her, and stayed until her sobs turned into calm breathing. From that night, Maya never feared storms again. She knew Buddy was always there. Years went by, and Buddy remained her constant companion. When Maya painted, his fur ended up covered in streaks of color. When she dressed him in silly hats, he sat proudly, wagging his tail, just happy to be part of her world. And whenever Maya felt sad, Buddy seemed to sense it before anyone else. He would rest his head on her lap, his quiet presence healing her heart. On her first day of school, Buddy sat by the door waiting for hours. He didn't nap or eat, he just waited. When Maya finally came running back home, Buddy's entire body shook with excitement. His tail wagged so wildly it nearly knocked over a chair. Maya dropped her backpack, hugged him tight, and whispered, "I missed you, Buddy." Through birthdays, holidays, laughter, and tears, their bond only grew stronger. Buddy wasn't just a dog. He was Maya's protector, her playmate, her best friend. And even now, every night when the lights go out, Buddy curls up at the foot of her bed, keeping watch. He had promised to protect her the very first day she came home, and he has never once broken that promise. Their story is proof that sometimes, love needs no words. Sometimes, love has 4 paws, a wagging tail, and a heartbeat that matches your own. Little Ethan shares his world with his loyal companion, a gentle shepherd mix named Rocky. From the very first day Rocky stepped into their home, something unexplainable sparked between them. Ethan was only 4 years old back then, a curious boy with wide eyes and endless questions. Rocky was a clumsy puppy with oversized paws and a heart already full of devotion. The day they met is a memory that will never fade. Ethan's parents had taken him to the shelter, just to take a look. Dozens of dogs barked and wagged their tails, but Rocky was different. He didn't jump or bark. Instead, he walked up to the glass, sat down quietly, and looked straight at Ethan. The boy froze, captivated. When Ethan pressed his little hand against the bars, Rocky leaned in and pressed his nose against